Welcome back to Saturday Social, where we are joined by Nieve and Kweku. Right, Kweku, brace yourself, mate. We are going to talk all things Chelsea. It's fair to say it's not been the best week. I think that's accurate, isn't it? Sixth loss in a row in the Premier League. And we can have a look at just how bad things have been. Chelsea fans, you might want to look away now because this is their last 10 results in the Premier League. And as you can see, as well as those 6 straight defeats that I've just mentioned, it's actually only 1 win in their last 10 Premier League games. And this is what it means for the Premier League tables. This is the current table as things stand. Chelsea down in 9th position. And for context, that is just 3 points ahead of Newcastle, who sit in 13th. Kweku, as a Chelsea fan, just talk to me about that. What's going on?
Yeah, absolutely shocking. It's been a disastrous season. I wouldn't say from start to finish because we started quite well under Maresca, but ever since Maresca left the football club, we brought in Liam Rosenior, who I think the club kind of threw under the bus a little bit. It's not been great from Chelsea, and the last 6 games, you look at it, it makes terrible reading. And I never believed in players down in tools until I saw Chelsea go to the Amex. And when I watched that game, I was like, oh, they're fully gone. And the game on Monday was a disaster against a Forest side who heavily rotated. And so for Chelsea fans, we don't really know where to look. We don't know where to point the blame, whether it's the players or the board or the manager. It's been an absolute mess for the season, and the season that Chelsea fans want to end very, very soon.
It's quite mad, isn't it? Because it wasn't like, when I was watching PSG midweek, I was like, wow, it was only sort of 8 months ago that Chelsea turned this team over in the Club World Cup final. And then there was kind of a bit of talk at the start of the campaign, and at periods throughout the campaign, they could compete for a title here.
Yeah.
The drop-off, I mean, what do you think, Nieve? What's gone on there?
I do not even know. I do not even know.
That's how we all feel. Yeah. That's how we all feel. We don't know how to feel, where it's gone wrong. Well, we do know where it's gone wrong in terms of those clear positions in this team that Chelsea should have improved on in the summer and didn't do that, and we're paying the price for it.
Do you think that it's coming back to bite them, sort of going at it and preparing, like they're signing players not for the pitch, but like for off the pitch strategy? Do you think that is at play? Yeah,
last time I came on the show, I said, put the spreadsheets down. Like, have a look, use your eyes, it's the eye test. And for Chelsea, it seems like it's being run like a business at the moment. And that's the saddest thing for football fans, because you pay your price of admission to watch players play football. You don't care about if you're in the red or the black. You want to see your teams or your team sign good players. And it's been a struggle for Chelsea, but again, it happens. Football's cyclical. I've had so many good times following Chelsea, and hopefully good times will come return again. But this has been one of the worst seasons I've had following the football club.
Well, let's try and fix it, because like I said, earlier in the season, at the start of the season, there was talk about you competing for some of the biggest honours in world football, wasn't it? It hasn't worked out like that. But today we're putting you in the sort of sporting director's chair, I would say. We're going to talk about how you get back to competing for those major honours this summer. So we're going to start with a manager, then we're going to build out an 11 you think next season could well compete. So let's start with the gaffer, because that is the big talking point right now.
Yeah, it's the biggest kind of decision that has to be made this summer. I've gone for Xabi Alonso. I don't know how realistic that is, but when I look at his experiences in terms of what he did at Leverkusen, working with a group of, there was experience there, but a group of young players and kind of moulding that squad. Chelsea got young players right now, and I feel they've got impressionable players that, if the right manager comes in, can really make a difference. And then you look at his experience in Real Madrid. Well, in hindsight, if you look at what's happened in that football club right now, he looks quite good. But also, he dealing with a hierarchy where he knows he's not making the ultimate decision when it comes to recruitment. That's what Chelsea have got as well. So I think the mixture of those experiences at Leverkusen and Madrid make him the perfect Chelsea manager. There's some Chelsea fans that have an issue with him being a former Liverpool player, but I don't care. I want the best man for the job, and if he does come in, give him the keys. Let him build this team in his image, and I think we're all right.
Yeah. Niamh, how realistic is that, do you think, Xabi Alonso, Chelsea manager?
I think so. I think Chelsea, like you've just said, though, I think if he believes he can go there, and they have got a good team of players, and I think if he believes that they'll give him the option to add to that, because I actually think as well, you look at the way he played at Leverkusen, and like you look at, let's say you got like Lavia and Caicedo in midfield, sort of similar. You've got like the engine of Andrich and Xhaka. He thinks he can replicate that, and then with your wide fullbacks turning into potentially wing backs, he might actually look and think with just a couple of additions, the players in place could actually suit the way I want to play, which was not really what he had at Real Madrid. He sort of had to fit players to make it work for what he wanted to do. You might not have to make that happen as much here. So he might look at that and think, oh, there's something I could get good football out of these players.
Yeah, very tactically astute manager. Interesting listening to Gareth Bale actually on a podcast saying that obviously he was tactically amazing at Leverkusen, but he wasn't overly surprised it didn't work out with Real Madrid, because when he was playing, it wasn't necessarily about the tactics, it was about managing the dressing room, which we're certainly seeing now with Real Madrid. So I think you look back and maybe his time at Real Madrid wasn't as disappointing as people are led to believe with Xabi Alonso. So that's the manager. So now we're building your 11. So this is the Chelsea 11 that you'd have to compete for the title. So they can be signings or current players. It's up to you. So the starting goal, is it a signing or a current player?
It's a signing.
OK.
James Trafford, I think he'd be disappointed of how this season's gone, just because he signed for Man City under the premise of being the #1 goalkeeper. An opportunity presented itself to sign Donnarumma, and he hasn't played as much football. But when he has played, he's been really good. Look at the cup final. He was really good for them. And he's a player that will be coveted by a lot of football clubs. But goalkeeper's been an issue, a problem area for Chelsea for a long time. And I think Robert Sanchez maybe gets a lot of flack unnecessarily. He's had good points this season, but ultimately Chelsea need to improve in that area. I think this man provides that upgrade.
OK, yeah, you'd take him at Chelsea, I'd take him at Spurs. I think he's going to be in demand.
It's a battle, I think Villa are interested as well. Everybody wants
clubs will be, Right back.
No change.
Yeah, no change. No brainer. Reece James, on this day, when fit, one of the best right-backs in the world. Unfortunately, he's picked up another injury. Hopefully he's fit enough for the World Cup. But, yeah, you don't need to explain too much about Reece James. When he's fit and firing, he can play as a right-back, he can play as a centre midfielder. He's top player.
Do you think his absence has been one of the main reasons sort of form has fallen off a cliff?
Maybe. We've seen Reece develop as a leader as well. He's found his voice. He's the Chelsea club captain. He's the only player there when we last won the Champions League. And so, yeah, his absence has definitely been felt. And when he's playing, he's fit and he's firing, I don't see many better players in this position.
Yeah, OK.
Centre-back.
Another
signing. So this is heavily linked with what we've seen with Tottenham, potential verbal agreements, obviously dependent on Spurs' Premier League status. Liverpool in for him as well. He's in demand. Do you think Chelsea is the most likely destination?
We've seen verbal agreements happen before with Spurs.
We have,
Those players go elsewhere. So I really like...
A lot of clubs linked with him, though, aren't there?
Yeah, a lot of clubs linked with him, and rightly so, right? I feel like if you go to Bournemouth, you're going to be linked with a big club within a season or so, and formed a really good partnership with James Hill in defence. He's just a solid professional who's got Premier League experience at the right age profile. And when you look at this Chelsea team, who last season was the youngest team in Premier League history, this season, youngest team in the Premier League and the Champions League, we need experienced players, and I think he proves to kind of fix that for us.
Nieve, Quaker's not the only Chelsea fan we've seen mention that they need a centre-back. Is that the centre-back you would choose for Chelsea?
Yeah, it's certainly a good option.
I mean, are you going to play him on the left? Are you going to play him on the right? Because I know your next centre-back coming up is very much a left-sided centre-back.
Yeah, so I'm going to play him on the right and I'll play Levi Colwill on the left-hand side. Okay. I think Colwill's obviously a little bit younger. He had a really good season last year, but again, he's still learning his trade and still trying to kind of find his voice as a leader in the Chelsea team. But I think next to someone as experienced as that and having that consistency with a centre-back partner will prove to be beneficial for a player that is really talented. Unfortunately, suffered that ACL injury, he's just coming back now. But I think when fit, he can be an option for England as well at centre-back. And I really, really like Levi Colwill.
Does that not worry you a little bit, putting him on the right in his first season in what could not necessarily a chaotic environment, but you've got new goalkeeper, new centre-back, team that have struggled defensively, putting him out of position?
Well, look, like, a lot of people are, I think, overly concerned in terms of the foot of your centre-back, and I don't think that was so much of an issue back in the day. I think this works. I think the dynamic of how they play works. I think Levi's a little bit more cerebral, and I think Senesi will be a perfect partner for him.
OK, left-back, I think we know who you're going with.
Bit of a tap in this one.
Sticking with Cucurella?
Yeah, Marc Cucurella. Like, he's fallen off a cliff recently in terms of form, but again, on his day, one of the best in his position in the world, and I think he's a real leader in the Chelsea team. And I know that Chelsea fans maybe soured after the comments during the last international break about maybe going elsewhere. Yeah. But yeah, got to keep Marc.
OK, so that's your back line. Let's go into the midfield area. Start with your defensive midfielder. Again, was this quite an easy one for you, sticking with the current player?
Yeah, Moises Caicedo is... he's a very, very good footballer. And again, maybe not showing his best form in recent weeks and months, but on his day, one of the best in the world in this position. And I just love the way he's tenacious and he represents what Premier League football is right now in terms of up and at him, and can also get you a goal from long range.
Yeah, most receptions in the Premier League of any player this season, Caicedo.
The next one, this is an interesting shout, I think. This is where some people might have been expecting a new signing potentially, but you're sticking with Romeo Lavia.
Joe, I'm done with new signings. I don't know what's going to happen next season. I don't know where we're going to be. I don't even know who our manager's going to be. And so I want a bit of consistency, right? And the last time that Chelsea were in a title race. Last time Chelsea won the title was the 16-17 season. The previous year was a disaster, finished 10th. That season we had no European football. We had consistency. We brought in N'Golo Kante, we brought in Marcus Alonso, but that was really it. And I feel like I don't want to upset the apple cart too much. I know that Lavia's suffered with so many injuries, but when fit, I still think he's a really good player. And we've seen the feature in recent weeks. And next to Caicedo in the midfield, which I do want a bit more legs, I don't really want to play with number 10 next season. I like Lavia next to Caicedo, who I put up.
Okay, well, that's interesting that you mentioned number 10 there. So who's your third? Let's put Lavia down and work out where you're going next. So you've got Enzo as your third midfielder. As a big talking point with Enzo, and I think we need to have it now. Yeah. Do you think he's likely to be a Chelsea player next season? Because there's been a lot of talk, isn't there, about where he'll be playing his football next season? He's
very divisive, Enzo Fernandez. This season he's been one of Chelsea's top performers. He's worn the armband a lot as well. Obviously, the last international break where Cucurella and Enzo Fernandez talked about their future and rubbed Chelsea fans the wrong way, but there's no doubt in his quality. What I will say is that if he does want to move away from Stamford Bridge, who are the suitors? Because Chelsea paid north of £100 million for him. Is anyone going to come in and match that? And we know that the people that run Chelsea, they run it like a business and they want to see a return or a profit made on players that they sign and sell. And so I see him staying, despite the fact that he might want to move away. But if he does want to move, there'll be Real Madrid, PSG, the top teams in the world, because he is a very, very good player.
Yeah, I mean, there's been talk, isn't there? And he's sort of had that experience of being banned as well, taken out of the team by the manager. Where are you at with Enzo?
I think generally speaking, just looking at the midfield, my only concern is not necessarily Enzo. It's about, you talk about Lavia and the injuries. I think when that midfield as a three plays, I think that would be fantastic. I think there's a great balance there. My concern is how often would it be able to play?
Yeah, I can't dispute that, especially with Lavia's injury issues. But like you said, when they do play, or if they do play together, I think that's a really solid Premier League midfield. And with no European football, hopefully that'll benefit someone like Romeo Lavia playing one game a week.
Okay. So move on to the front three. Not a lot of signings so far, which is quite interesting, given the formula. And it's another, Cole Palmer.
Cole Palmer. So Cole Palmer.
Best position for you, for Cole?
He said it himself. On the right-hand side, kind of in that channel, not hugging the touchline, but the ability to drift inside. It's not been the best season for Cole Palmer. It's been a disaster, really, compared to his standards, but he still scored 9 league goals. He'll probably end the season on double figures in terms of Premier League goals, and that's the type of player that Cole Palmer is. He gets numbers in his sleep and is super effective when he's at his very best. Maybe hasn't been at his very best for a year or so now, carrying an injury still. But, Cole Palmer is a guaranteed starter when fit for Chelsea and still our best player.
We've obviously seen what he can do. I mean, fantastic player. Where do you think he ranks in terms of this summer with England? Starter, squad player, at risk of going? Like, where do you think he ranks? Because there's so many players in those attacking areas competing for places that there's going to be a huge name. One big name is going to be left out somewhere on the line.
There's a risk he doesn't go. There is a risk he doesn't go, because you look at Morgan Gibbs-White, who's scoring goals right now. You look at Morgan Rogers, who's probably got the shirt. You look at Jude Bellingham. You look at Eza. Like, there's a lot of players that are competing for a place.
Stacked position.
It's a stacked position, but Cole Palmer's shown you in the final of the Euros 2 years ago that he's a big game player, and he's played a lot of football.
And the assist in the semi-final as well.
Assist in the semi-final as well. But he went from playing the Euros to having a season, to Club World Cup, to having a season, to potentially going to the World Cup. Obviously, for his career, I'd love him to go to the World Cup. If he doesn't, as a Chelsea fan, selfishly, I wouldn't be too disappointed.
Oh, interesting.
Let's go to the other winger then, because I know we haven't got Esteval. Is that because of the injury he suffered? It seems like it could be quite bad.
I feel like Esteval playing in this position is probably where I see him playing. Pedro Neto, again, divisive. A lot of Chelsea fans aren't the biggest fan of him, but I feel what he provides in terms of his running in behind, also his experience, he's still a valuable member of this squad. And in a season where we probably won't have European football, I feel like he could be very, very important in terms of just keeping that consistency. There's been too much of a revolving door at Chelsea. Obviously, Quenda's coming in. And he can play both wings, but really is on the right-hand side. I feel like Pedro Neto is an experienced player that can kind of bring that run in that the other winger in Cole Palmer doesn't really have.
OK, let's stick him up and let's go to your final position. And then we're going to get Nieve's take once we've seen the 11. So last position that you'd go with.
Player of the year?
Sticking with João Pedro.
Yes. 15 league goals this season. Only Haaland scored more non-penalty goals than him in the league this year. He's been fantastic in his first season. A bit streaky. He kind of played his best football under Liam Rossini, which is strange. But he's really top player, and there's no doubt about it that he's going to be linked with top clubs. He's already been linked with Barcelona. And the goal he scored against Forest, I know it was a terrible game for Chelsea, but that just speaks to his quality. And he came in during the Club World Cup, made an instant impact, scored in the semi-final, scored in the final. And this season, as a first season at a team that's struggling, he's done very, very well.
So strong back to goal, João Pedro. Like the appearances, obviously they not won the games, but against Arsenal, he's one of the few strikers I've seen with Saliba and Gabriel back to goal. Just
joint best scoring season of his English career as well. So there we go. That is confirmation of your team to compete for the title. You've articulated that very well. You obviously know Chelsea better than all of us here. I'd counteract that. The only question I would have is, this is building a team to win the title, and you're sticking with 9 current players, and you've just said with everything going on. So do you only think they need 2 signings in order to compete for a title then? You don't think they need more?
Sometimes football's overcomplicated. Look at Arsenal 22-23, right? Who did they bring in? They brought in Zinchenko and they brought in Gabriel Jesus, and they went from 5th to being on 50 points after 19 games. Sometimes it's about finding the right dynamics and finding the right players. There's a lot of Chelsea fans that are calling for a mass overhaul of the squad.
Yeah.
I think it needs a bit of tweaking. I've already said that Reece James, one of the best right-backs in the world, Moises Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez, you look at Cole Palmer, João Pedro, Marc Cucurella, quality players. So it just needs a little bit of tweaking. No European football. You know, as a United fan, that's a stimulus package. I feel like next season, I don't want to see too many changes. I just want to see the right signings in the right positions. I think we'll be all right.
Nieve, let's get your thoughts on that then. Can that team compete for the title? Obviously, Kweku's... So I think we were surprised there was only 2, weren't we, when we saw that? But you've obviously articulated yourself very well there. Great explanation. Can that team, with only 2 changes, do you think, compete for the title?
I'd be tempted to make some slight adjustments in, especially if Xabi Alonso's coming in the team. I would really capitalise on the fact that you've got 2 players here that are super comfortable in wide areas going forward, and I would have these as wing backs. I would have Colwill, Fofana, and I'd actually look at maybe James Hill, who's at Bournemouth next to Senesi. And then what you could do then is have Cole Palmer more inside then, because he's got the width of Reece James. That way you've got Caicedo, Enzo, Cole, and then Lavia's not got the pressure of having to start every week. What an incredible player to come and rotate with Caicedo. João Pedro, yeah, for sure. And then maybe another new signing could be made in an attacking position just to increase the goal scoring, because I think that's a huge problem, is that quality and dribbling and 1v1 and finishing. And I think that's where actually a real signing could be made.
Great shout. Give Nieve the job.
There you go. Nieve the job. Sorry, Xabi. We've gone with Nieve.
New gaffer.
But anyway, there it is. Let us know what you think of the Chelsea situation at home.